I think it's a complete lack of ethics and morals that have happened in this country and Washington.
Very simply put, our country is heading off an economic cliff. We have 100% debt to GDP. We're adding another 7.5% this year alone.
We've got to take this country back. We have to get back to citizen legislators instead of crony career politicians that all they're good at is raising campaign contributions, making speeches, getting reelected, and kicking the financial can down the road. Because we've got a huge problem facing us, and that is we are spiraling out of control with debt. And we've got to change course now, and we have to do it rapidly, because if we don't, in 3-4 years, it's going to implode on us just like it is Greece.
Politicians have not had the courage to make the right choices, the tough choices. And frankly, one of the other problems is a lot of these career politicians just don't have the economic knowledge and business background to really even understand the issues. As it pertains to how long this goes, I think you're talking about a housing problem that will probably flatline early '09, but then stay flat for probably 2-3 years. And when it lifts, it'll be a very slow lift. I've spent my career in the private sector where you have to make a budget, you have to manage a business correctly, or your businesses go out of business.
That sounds an awful lot like Ron Johnson, a Wisconsin businessman who was elected to the U.S. Senate.
Both Ron and I came out of the private sector. Obviously, what motivated Ron was Obamacare, and I understand his deep concern about that. What motivated me is our debt issues that are happening today.
I respect Ron highly. I think he has done a fantastic job, and he's fighting against the establishment in Washington. We are each our own individual men, but I can see why people would draw some of the similarities.
I started my first business with my dad. He put in $4,000, and I had to come up with $1,000. But since then, I've been an entrepreneur, starting an asset management and financial advisory firm, as well as running many community banks across the country. My brother Steve and I greatly expanded my family's real estate business here in southern Wisconsin.
Eric's a good businessman. He's been in business over 20 years. He's had a family business here in Madison.
Truth be told, I've been blessed. And I guess you could say I've lived the American dream. But life doesn't always go the way you plan it. Along the way, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis about 20 years ago. Fortunately, God has blessed me and my health has stood firm. Not everyone is as fortunate as I have been, so we started a foundation to help fund medical research towards a cure for MS. In the last decade, we have expanded our mission to provide aid and shelter to vulnerable and neglected children around the world.
We were married, he turned 40, and he conceived the whole idea of his Hovde houses. And that is exactly what he started doing. And that's another quality of Eric that is, he does what he says he's going to do.
Hovde Foundation has come on board and has made the huge difference. Are now enjoying a fully fledged life. They experience the love that a child should experience.
Thank you,
I think Wisconsin is one of the most beautiful spots within this wonderful country of ours. My grandpa came here with his parents, and they really had not much of anything. They came with that American dream. It was through their hard work and perseverance and self-determination that they were going to make it in this country. That's what this country was made on. And I think Wisconsin, period, is one of the greatest places to live. And it's nice having come back and being able to have my younger daughter, my 13-year-old, see more of the kind of childhood I was raised with and the more freedom that I was able to have. She's loving it.
One of the fun traditions me and my dad have is we always go on Packer hikes before each of the Packer games, and we throw the football around and act like we're different Packer players, and it's a lot of fun.
He is truly a family man and has always put family first. He is deeply rooted in family tradition, which is something that he has passed along to my sister and I.
He is an outstanding parent. He has that perfect balance of love and discipline that just works beautifully, and it's been a very rewarding experience.
And so I started asking my friend about him, and next thing you know,
And then her friend's boyfriend called me and said, Sharon would like to have you to call her and ask her out. And I said I would love to do this.
Lo and behold, he did, and 5 years later, we got married, so it'll be our 15th wedding anniversary this November.
I was a little slow on the uptake, like a lot of guys can be. But, yeah, it's the best decision I ever made in my life.
One of the interesting parts of your campaign, I think, so far has been your intense criticism of Wall Street.
Wall Street committed fraud, Washington turned a blind eye, and when it all fell apart, our taxpayer money bailed them out. It's greed, it's corruption, and they're both taking us for a ride. You know our government borrows 38 cents on every dollar it spends. We have more debt to our economy than all but 3 European countries. This is not just an economic crisis, it's a moral crisis. Governor Walker committed the unpardonable sin of doing two unforgivable things. First, he did what he said he was going to do. Second, he did what he had to do to save Wisconsin from bankruptcy. Look, when small and medium-sized businesses here in Wisconsin got into trouble, nobody came to bail them out and take care of them. But when Wall Street blew up the world's financial system and ripped off American savings and retirement accounts, when they got in trouble, they ran right to Washington and had a whole series of programs, and not one of these executives were held accountable.
I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative. Government should just get out of that whole issue, and it should not impose anything on the church.
I'm pro-life. I believe in the right to life. In my view, defending innocent life is a basic responsibility of civilized people.
In 2010, we were fortunate enough to send a citizen legislator to Washington, and I prayed that lightning would strike twice, and I think lightning has with Eric Hovde.
We need those people that have that experience to go to Washington and clean up this mess.
I care too much about this country and decided I've got to go serve and try to turn this thing around.
He's not the type of person you have to worry about that a lobbyist is going to change his mind behind the curtain. He's the kind of guy that if he tells you he's going to do it, you can count on him to do it.
U.S. Senate candidate, Madison businessman. I'm excited he's in the race. I think he's a great addition, and I think he does potentially shake the hell out of this race.
We need somebody that's going to go there, do the job, and not stay there for the rest of their life.
He's not going to go there and try to become part of the club. He's going to go there as a citizen legislator.
I think Eric would be the perfect guy to send to Washington. He's got a sound foundation. He knows what's right and wrong. He's got a moral compass that you can count on to do the right thing.
We've got to win the White House. We've got to take back the Senate. We've got to control spending. I want the best for this country and for my kids. We cannot let our society continue to shift what President Obama is doing from one of what we're built on, which was self-determination, self-accomplishment, independence, to where he's taking us, which is entitlement and dependence on government.